I'm making a disclaimer. It helps me be able to talk. I need to see that guy in the back. Can you move over the drop? He gives me chizuk. His eyes are connected to my eyes. It gives me chizuk. So the disclaimer is that first of all, there's two disclaimers. Number one is that whatever I'm saying is in a derech of efshari, a derech of perhaps. Who am I? What am I? How could I even pretend to say that I understand something that's beyond the capacity of not kemat, of any human being of understanding? So nothing I'm saying is pshat. I'm not saying pshat in Likutey Moharan. I'm saying the way the Rebbe talks to me. And we spoke about this. I will give him a little Hakdama. Hakdama is, we're talking about the Rebbe's Sefer. And the Rebbe says, Ikar HaTzadik Hu Tzarot. Do you mind closing that window? Ikar HaTzadik Hu Tzarot. I know when you hear him, leave the back one. We'll open both back ones, but over here it hits me in the certain way. So, we all know that we can. I said this yesterday, but I feel it's something that needs to be emphasized very, very much. Anybody who's coming here to Oman, whether this year through the hardship or the easy time, but everybody that's coming into Oman is coming for a reason. Some of us know the reason. Most of us that are here this year are coming because the reason is that we're coming for ourselves. We're all coming to get something. Whether it's inspiration, by being around people that inspire us, by davening, by the seeing, by seeing the different types of walks of life that are connecting to one thing. Everybody has different feelings of things that inspire them, and they come back, and this is the injections that they get to come back and to connect to our spirituality, to connect to the Eibusher. And we all, and then there's another level of people that are coming for a ticket. We're coming, listen, we screwed up, we need the best lawyer in the world, and we're coming here, the Reish Gadol, the biggest, the Rebbe, the doctor, and the biggest lawyer, right? And this Rebbe was Maftiah, and he said that the Rebbe Shalom gave him Rosh Hashanah. So it's always about me. There's another level here, and this level, the essence we all have, it's all in us. But it's another level, and we have to remember, even if we are coming for self, we're all coming for selfish reasons, because that's human nature. But there is another level and that you see this year. And that level is, the Rebbe said to come to him for Rosh Hashanah, and he chose this place, in the middle of Ukraine, 220 years ago. This is the place that he chose. So if the Rebbe said to come to him, I'm coming because he needs me. I'm coming because he's saying, Ish Bal Yedam, there should be nobody missing here. Thank you. No, I don't need it. I'm good right now. I need, but keep it close. Ish Bal Yedam means that nobody should be missing. There should be nobody not coming. Because I need you. And why do I need you? Because in order to build the Malchus of Hashem, in order to inaugurate the Melech Malchei HaMelachim, in order to be, when we say, V'yitul l'chod kesem alucha, I used to say this all the time. I said, when you're watching the inauguration of the president, Mahavdil, 11 million to think, when you're watching the inauguration, and you get an invitation to come to the inauguration because you are either a Democrat or a Republican, and the person who gets to sit on the dais, that's the real chashuv place. If you get the invitation, and you have a choice, you can watch the same thing on television, and you can see it much better than coming to the inauguration. But when you get an invitation to the inauguration, it says your name is cited as President of the United States, you're going to Washington. You're not watching it on television. Every single one of us got an invitation to the inauguration of Melech Malchei HaMelachim that the Rebbe said, Rosh Hashanah Shali. What does it mean, Shali? It's mine. That means these 2 days of the year, whether you're here in Oman, whether you're not here in Oman, it's mine. And what does these 2 days represent? These 2 days represent the Malchus of Hashem. We're saying that you are the Melech. The whole thing is about HaMelech and Melech and kingdom. Which means, and when the pinnacle is at Muslim, when we say and we're all clapping to the inauguration of the Kli. You have to visualize that the Rebbeinu Shalom is here, and we, all of our neshamas that are here, together with the Heilige Rebbe, the Rebbe is taking us, we are the chosen people to take that crown and put it on top of the king's head. And that place, the Rebbe needs us. It's not us that are coming. We're getting back a bonus because the Rebbe is telling us, come, I need your neshama, because in order to make this crown, I need you, and I need you, and I need you, and it's by invitation. So we were invited. And this is the part I want to tell you, like somebody very close to me, I don't want to say who, but a family member of mine, this year went through tremendous anxiety. Anxiety that you cannot, I couldn't believe what he went through. Baruch Hashem, he came this morning, and when he came, I couldn't stop crying. Because I saw the Meniyas HaMoich, you know how many times he threw in the towel? And this guy loves the Rebbe. He was instilled, was in, like you say, in his bones. It's in his bones. And that's Lamaita. Ultimately, what won over was that I'm not coming for me. Because if it was for me, I'd rather be home. I can't deal with these. He thought he was going to be captured by the Russians. The anxiety that he went through. I Baruch Hashem, don't have that because I'm a different personality. But we have to understand each person's hardship. And even the people who don't feel the hardship, all of us really underneath it all are coming here because the Rebbe said to come. We convince ourselves and we let ourselves be convinced.
I'm confused with that.
Yeah, go ahead. I love it. You know that.
So you're saying we're coming here because the Rebbe needs us here, or you're saying we're coming because we want to be here and the Rebbe wants us?
No, you think that you're coming here because you want to be inspired. You're coming. There's a reason. Everybody has a different reason. I need a ticket. The Rebbe says the whole year I'm going to give a ticket to this. And he said what I can do, I can do much more. It's all about me. That's what you think that you're coming. Otherwise, why do you think you're coming here? But underneath that is you're coming here because he needs you, because he invited you. You don't understand that he's letting you think in your head that you're coming here because of you. But be'etzem, you're coming here because he needs you for his Rosh Hashanah to be marked. And when he doesn't need you, you're not here. When it was Corona and nobody was able to come, he had different things. We don't understand what's going on. This is beyond our capacity of understanding. What I'm trying to say is that we're here and we should know that even though we're all here for selfish reasons, selfish spiritual reasons, we're not talking about selfish chazon, gashmi reasons, selfish spirit, which is a good thing. I'm not knocking it. But there's a much higher level that really is underneath it. And I'm saying that this year, all the people that really came, it was a hard trip. There's
why the Rebbe writes all these things? You come to me, he talks about you, he doesn't talk about him. The Rebbe, when he talks about
no, he doesn't. Not on Rosh Hashanah. All year, yes. All year, yes. Not Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe says, Ish Bal Yeda, nobody should be missing. Last week's cruise, go make an announcement in the whole world. The Rebbe says, Loimi Boy Asaf, not just you are telling my Rosh Hashanah, but the entire world is telling my Rosh Hashanah. And he said, crazy words.
So when the crazy Breslov was like you,
thank you. Compliment! Did you hear the compliment?
But there's something crazy came together to me. So you're really doing it for the comment of the Rebbe.
100%.
You want the person.
Like you said, your brother.
I don't always feel like that.
For the Rebbe, I mean the Neshama that you bring for the Rebbe, not for the Neshama, not for the person.
1,000%. Not only that, I was zoicha in my lifetime to bring 100, and maybe my people brought people. I hope that these are. Are you kidding? When I come up there, that's my green card. I got nothing else. That's it. That's what I'm going.
I brought you the shop.
Yeah, I always said to you.
No, it's not about me. It's not about the person you tell them.
No, ultimately it's about me. You understand? Ultimately, it's still about me.
It's about the Rebbe.
Ultimately, this is it. I got nothing. At least I'm down. You know the guys that was dug down in this. In that 40. The gold mining. They got stuck over there, and finally they got a way out. I was always thinking about who was the last guy to go up. Who was the last guy? That was me. I was telling you, I'm staying down here. You guys go up. Rebbe is going to take you up, and I'm still staying in Shotach. You understand? At least I got you to go up. You get up. I'm still there. I said this yesterday, and I'm saying it now. I'll say it again. So Baruch Hashem, this Be'ez Hashem, in 2 days, Be'ez Hashem, is going to be my 34th consecutive Rosh Hashanah being here. Not that there's a streak to it, but there's a gratitude to it. I'm saying it from a place of gratitude. I was zoicha that the Rebbe chose me for 34 years straight. If we're going with the concept that the Rebbe needs me, so then I must have a value. It must be something that I'm able to contribute. And every Rosh Hashanah I came here, and I said this yesterday, I'm saying it again. Every year I came. You know, the Rebbe says you give a fruit of a tzedakah. You say thank you for the tefillin. The kabul shel yoshev oydli vamsa. You're gonna say I'm never gonna do this again, and I'll take you out from Shotach to Mitzvah. Right? That's not talking.
You need a Kabbalah for that talk?
So good question. So I always ask myself, if I'm being mekabel shel yoshev oydli vamsa, if I'm saying that I'm never gonna do it, what do I need the Rebbe for? If I'm really saying I'm doing tshuva, what do I need the Rebbe for?
You really mean it.
What's the difference? What's the difference? We're talking about no. I mean it. We're talking about you're saying that which I said taking our colleagues, and I just say it, even though I don't mean it, it's good enough. The Rebbe can. So the truth is, you're 100% right. 100% right. There's a story I'll tell you. For someone, I don't know if it's a real story, true story. It's not. Doesn't make a difference if it's a true story or not, but it's a story that I believe in. There was a guy here a couple of years ago when Shirley Singer was paying for the tickets for guys to come to Oman. There was a bunch of guys. They heard, okay, there's a trip to Oman. I'm gonna, I'll sign up. They put on sisters and yarmulke, and they went to the place wherever you sign up for the thing. And they had zero intentions of coming here to be by the Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah. They just wanted a party. And they came to Oman, and they stayed outside of the vicinity here. And they did the whole Rosh Hashanah. They didn't come to Daven, and they did Kol Davar or whatever it was here in Oman. Buses on the way home left from Pushkin, so they had to come by the Rebbe seeing. So one of the guys that came back by the Rebbe sees outside, Heichel Reb Nachman. He says, "Oh, Rabbeinu, thank you. Bye. I had a great time." And he goes on the bus. A couple of months later, this guy gets in a car accident, and they resuscitate him, and they bring him back to life after many, many attempts, and he comes back to life. When he comes back to life, he finally comes back to himself. He wakes up, and he says, "I got to tell you a crazy story that happened. I came up to Shamayim, and they brought me. This is the way I heard it, so I'm repeating it the way I heard it. Again, I don't know the validity of the story, but it doesn't make a difference. The story is beautiful, and it definitely could have happened 100%. But I heard it from a Muslim, by the way. I heard it from a person that's a Muslim that says he heard it from a guy that it's printed in one of Erez Aron's books. This is what I heard. Anyway, the point is that he came and they brought his mitzvahs. First they brought his mitzvahs, and they weren't too big, and then they brought his Averis, and it was coming in, and they said, okay, this guy's got to go. In walks this young man, I'm sure the redhead, they said the rabbi's a redhead. He comes in and he says, he's from my people. He says, your people, he never came to you. Not only he didn't come to you, he came, and he did everything he wanted. But he said, by Rabbeinu. So if he said Rabbeinu, then he's my people. And that's why he came back, and he became about tshuva, and the story is a great story, beautiful story. The story is not the point. The point is that we don't understand. The Rebbe said, what's the Sichomati? I keep forgetting that when he's jealous of the way, say, someone, I
wish myself I would be able to see the lightness of the ways that you come to me.
I wish of myself that I could see the light of the Rebbe who is mastering everything. And he said he wished on himself that he could see the light of all the people that come to him. What kind of a order to do? We have no idea where we are. We have no idea why we're here. We think we know that we came because we need a Yeshua, because I'm dying for some other Yeshua, or I need inspiration, or an injection, or the. We do not understand. If the Rebbe said he didn't understand, we don't understand. That's the point. That we're just being aware. We're in a Makan Kadosh that's Kodesh HaKadosh with the Rebbe. They say, you know, when the war broke out. So, the first thing I thought about was and I'm sure every single Breslov, the first thing you heard, Ukraine went to war, what's going to be Rosh Hashanah? And as the war intensified, we started seeing it looked worse and worse. It didn't look better and better. And we saw that Mamish was going to be Rosh Hashanah. And what was the feeling was that I don't know what this Rosh Hashanah thing is, but I know that it's really big. And if there is no Rosh Hashanah, what's going to be with the world? And I look back just 2 years ago, Corona, when we weren't able to come in, it was a devastating year for us. We went through tremendous Yisurim, which we're going to talk about in a second. And we went through tremendous, personally I went through tremendous, I lost my best friend, his daughter and his son-in-law, that we named the whole Heichel HaTorah, and Miran, 45 people, from men that were trampled on by the tzaddik in Karlin, on Shavuos. We couldn't go to Reb Shimon and we couldn't go to the Rebbe. These tzaddikim that are connected. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not pretending to know. But I know one thing. When we go, this didn't happen. So there's something here that all I'm trying to point out is that there's something here that's beyond what we think. So each and every one of us that came this year came from a place of, even though we're coming for our selfish reasons, our selfish spiritual reasons, but we're all coming because the Rebbe said come. And that's the thing that you have to remember in the hardest times, in the weakest times, to know that really the real reason why I'm here is because the Rebbe said he needs me. And I'm here because he said he needs me. So I'm here. And yeah, all the other spiritual selfishness you're going to get. Because the Rebbe said he's going to give it to you all year. So he's certainly going to give it to you on Rosh Hashanah. But at least be in awareness. Be in the awareness that I'm here because you said I should be here. And you said, for you I'm willing to be Moisei Nefesh. And I love you so much because you give me redemption. You give me all these matanas that you give me. But I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to let you down. You need me. I'm not going to let you down. So all of us say, and this is the Agdama. The Agdama is, this is why we're here, and this is all the reason. But yet the Rebbe says the Iker of the tzaddik is not the tzin. The Iker HaTzadik Hu Tayrosai. The tzaddik's Iker, that means all of the things that we're coming from are not the Iker. The Iker is the Torah of Likutey Moharan. So now, that's the Agdama of saying, what you want to understand about learning this now. Till now, I grew up in Breslov, and I learned Likutey Moharan since a very young age. And the nusach that we learned in Breslov is a different language than the nusach was. You learn the Torah, you get the medicine, you take the prescription up, you find something, you identify in the Torah that's talking to you, and use that. And you're hoping that you use it now because you're using it as that medicine now. You put it in the safe, in the vault, and use it in a different time. And sometimes you use it as a pass. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly did. You know, you take some of the Rebbe things, ancient in Bible, great. So now, tomorrow, I can get right back on the wagon, and you keep pushing off tomorrow, and then you come to where I came to. But there's another way of learning this. Not to exclude that chashon. I'm not saying that. Of learning, not just for its chassid, to pick myself up in my weak moment. Not just to waken myself up when I'm sleeping. But to live a life where I'm going to meet everything that I'm learning, and whatever Torah I'm in, everywhere I go, I'm going to see this. It's a culture and it's a way of life. And the only way to be able to do that is not to look into svarim that are giving me perushim and telling me how to learn Likutey Moharan, but to visualize when I learn Likutey Moharan that I'm sitting in front of the Rebbe, and it's just one-on-one with me and the Rebbe, and he is talking to me, and he's giving me a shir, not a shir to tell me Torah, but a shir. He's directly talking to me, And he's telling me don't look at anything else but me, focus on what I'm telling you. And if you're learning it for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever you're going to determine that you're learning this Torah B'iyim, you only know this Torah. You don't know any other Torah. You can learn B'kiyas because of Torah. But your life and everything that you're doing in your life, in your daily day, from the minute you get up to the second you go to sleep, you're going to find the Torah and how does it relate to me in this Torah. And that becomes a culture and a new way of life. And I'm telling you from a personal experience, that it's changing my life. It's mamish changing my life. All the times I learned the Rebbe's Torah, so I had times where it was good, and times it was bad, but the bad was really bad. I still have bad, but it's taking me and elevating my bad. It's not the same bad. It's not the same. It doesn't smell the same. It doesn't look the same. It's different bad. And that I started realizing could only come when you're living the Torah mamish, and the only way to live the Torah is to listen to the Rebbe, what he's telling me, without looking anywhere else to explain what the Rebbe is saying. And we started this movement, and he happens to be sitting here, and he doesn't like when I talk about him, but I do want to say that I was inspired to this whole thing by my Chaver, who I know since I'm a little kid, Mati Gottlieb, who was sitting here in the back, who started this whole idea. They actually started this whole idea of learning a Torah for a few months, started from Beitar, I think they started this thing of learning a Torah for 3 months. And Mati took it to another level, opened up a koil, one koil, to learn the Torah B'iyim and to teach how to learn B'iyim. So this, I was called here to talk in Nachla's Street, even though he's not his street, wherever you are, but to talk about learning the Torah B'iyim and how to learn the Torah B'iyim. So let's talk about how to learn the Torah B'iyim. I don't even know if we're going to get to the Torah. Maybe we'll bring some examples from the Torah Samachay. I don't know how many people learn Torah Samachay. I see some places that right now we're learning Torah Samachay. But before that, I want to tell you something that happened. So then I was inspired last year. I was, Mati was doing whatever the Torah they were learning. I was learning with my Chavrusa right here. We were learning the same Torah, and we were starting to live the Torah B'iyim. And then I would call Mati every once in a while, and we'd talk about the Torah, and I got inspired. And this guy is a visionary, and he says, hey, we're on to something really good. If we can produce this in the world where everybody's going to start living the Torah in such a way, we're going to change the world. We're going to bring Mashiach. That's what the Rebbe said. Between me and Mashiach, there's no difference except that Mashiach they're going to listen to, and me they didn't listen to. And the Rebbe said that Mashiach is going to say the Torah is my Torah. He's going to say Torah, he's going to say K'moshe Kosev Likutey Moharan. So if we believe in this, this guy's selling me, this is his language, and he's selling it to me. He said, if you believe in this, then we got to do this. And he took it on himself from his own pocket, and he started opening kolim all over Israel, and to learn this thing, and to teach people how to learn this thing. And he's been pushing me, and no self-confidence, or not wanting to run away from my, my struggles, or whatever it was. I didn't listen. My friend, a year and a half ago, passes away. My best friend. And I looked at myself and I said, okay. And then he calls me right after. He said, last year was Oman. Everybody came here early. We need to give these people money. I said, are you going to do this for Chaim? And he said, yeah, we're going to make the Hechla Torah on Chaim. I said, okay, done. I'm doing it. He had no idea what I was dancing into. The budget was a lot less than what I thought it was going to be. And at the end, Baruch Hashem, we did it. And once we did it, I felt like, okay, great, done. I'm done. Finished, Mati, bye, see you. Keeps pushing me. You got to do this in America. Push. You got to open up Kolim in America. You got to keep doing it. He's pushing me. He says, I'll give you the money. You just do it. I'll give you the money. Baruch Hashem, Chavrusa helped me out. He started off the first month. And we started with one koil. I just there one day walked into the koil. Who wants to learn Likutey Moharan? And brought a whole bunch of these pamphlets. We put it down, and everybody. There was 10 guys that said. A week later, The guy from Muncie calls me up. I heard you started a kollel begin. We also want to have a kollel in Muncie. A week later in Lakewood, and started spreading. Baruch Hashem, today we have 5 kollel, and each kollel is really, really learning the Torah. Look at now. Hopefully we'll have more. This is not a fundraiser. I'm trying to show you that this is a movement. This is a movement that's happening, and everybody that's here, I'm telling this to you because everybody can learn Likutey Moharan. Many people come to me and they say, I tried, I opened up the thing, he's talking Kabbalah, he's talking languages, I don't understand. Not true. The Rebbe said that you can learn my sefer without any assumption. You don't need anybody to tell me, you don't need to know anything. You can learn. There is a little bit of a language barrier. You need to get familiar with the way the Rebbe talks. And by the way, in each Torah, the Rebbe has a different language. Every Torah is a different language. So if you just have to be prepared to struggle a little bit. When I started Torah Samachet, we were learning Torah Chafei before. First of all, I didn't want to stop. Torah Chafei was like, every time we learn a new Torah, it's like, forget it, we can't stop this Torah because this is a life changer. And then when he tells me, we're doing this, I'm not ready. And it takes me like 2 weeks to even get into the Torah. I'm still in Torah Chafei. And when he started Torah Samachet, the first 2 weeks I'm looking at Torah. What does this have to do about Shada, Diburim, Tefillah, Yisurim, Shimoin? And not only that, I don't see the connections. When we did Torah Chavei, we're talking about the Medam and the Seichel, wow. And I'm meeting it on a daily basis. How am I meeting this on a daily basis in Torah Samachet? And then you have to struggle. You have to, just plow through, okay? I don't understand. Rebbe, I know you're talking to me, but I don't understand what you're talking to me. And there's another big cloud that this is about teaching how to learn. So I'm teaching you that, hey, you're going to struggle. The struggle, though, is not a struggle in your Havana. You're going to be struggling with the language. Because the Rebbe is talking to everybody, from the biggest to the middle to the lowest. It's impossible that he's not talking to you. It's impossible. It has to be. But you're going to be challenged with the language. Sometimes you don't understand what does he mean. No problem. You ask somebody, or you want to look into a translation. I do it all the time. I look, especially in English, when you're learning Likutey Moharan in English, the Rebbe is talking in Hebrew. You want to know the definition of the word, not be'erech. I look up Google, Safaria. I want to, what is the language? What does this word really mean? Because in English I understand, in Hebrew I don't understand. But once you pass that language barrier, and you start thinking about what did the Rebbe say, da ki yesh tov, v'shom g'deilim, ilonu yisvatzov, right? V'goydel yekar yoysi hasoda iyeh shol esafa, ashrei ayin ro'azazot. You start thinking about what is the Rebbe telling me here. He's telling me that there's a beautiful field, and I start visualizing this field with beautiful trees. And what's the difference between a tree and a grass? Is every tree start off like the grass? You start asking questions. And there's no such a thing as a stupid question. There is no such a thing as a stupid question. Because if you believe the Rebbe is talking to you, and the Rebbe that you have a question, it's like you're asking the Rebbe. So there's no such a thing as a stupid question, and there's no such a thing as a stupid shot. Because I'm not trying to say shot in Likutey Moharan. I'm trying to say shot in my journey and how the Rebbe is talking to me. And you want to know something fascinating? It's crazy. It's the same words that you're talking, that the Rebbe, you take one sentence, it could be talking to me one way, and to every single person a different way, the same exact word. How is that possible? Because it's coming from such a high place that it's able. If you want to go into the Torah, we could say it thanks. From the state Torah means it's the higher you go, the lower you can see. So the Rebbe went so high that he's able to see into every single individual and talk to every single individual in a different way with the same word. It's fascinating. It's unbelievable. In the kollel, I go to the kollel and I see it. And then I say, wow, that's beautiful. What you just said, I didn't see it. You know why? Because the Rebbe was talking to me a little bit differently. But now, you gave me, and we share, and then all of a sudden we start seeing that Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, they're all connected. Everything is connected. So, that's, I don't know which, I lost my train of thought, but These are all tools that from my own experience I'm able to share with you, but I'm sure that each one of you will have your experiences once you determine to learn the Likutey Moharan, and not Chas v'Shalom, I'm not negating any other sefer. I'm not saying Likutey Halachos. By the way, I'll tell you, in Torah Chafei, we learned for a few months, Torah we learned a few months, and then I went to Likutey Halachos and I realized that I saw a whole new Likutey Halachos. Because how do we learn Likutey Halachos? We learn Likutey Halachos. Reb Nachman took Halacha. He took a Torah. And Reb Nachman, he knew how to pick every single one up. So he took the Rebbe's Torah, connected it, and it's a chassid. Not true. Reb Nachman is mevayed the Torah also, but you can't get to understand the views on the Torah unless you were challenged with the questions that he was challenged. You're never going to see it in his words because Enochanami, Reb Nachman is also huge. So my advice, and I'm again saying it in a perhaps only because it's working for me and I see it working for others. The advice is don't look for shiurim. Don't look even to look at halachos in the beginning. Just listen to the words of the Rebbe over and over and over again. And another piece of advice is that in order to learn the Eid, it's very easy. You start, let's stop it. No, don't stop it. Learn the Torah from beginning to end and just get the map and say to yourself, okay, Sif Aleph, Soda, Bala Soda, Tefillah B'Tikuna, Sif Beis, stay Toivim, stay Boichim, Dibura Tefillah, that being Malakid, Dibura Tefillah, that is Yosef. Just get the map. Sif Gimel, Echad, Kulei Toiv, Kulei Echad, Yisurim, Re'iyah, what is vision? Al Kainit B'Betavot, Sif Dalet, Bittul, Rishima. Take the map and go over it and over it, even to take it just like I just said it. I said it in one sentence, I just said the whole time. Take that and just review it in your head again and again and again. And you're going to start seeing things that are beautiful. So now, I want to say something to the Torah. I don't know how many people are in the Torah. How are you? What? Yes, sure.
Yeah, maybe a bit off the subject, but Reb Nachman said that the Ikar Lili today should be the Reb Nachman Fried. So how do we make it like that?
I'm not challenging Reb Nachman. I don't know anything. I know that these are the things that are working for me. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I'm suggesting that the purpose of me coming here was to talk about learning Likutey Moharan at the beginning. Now, understand, I started saying this. I went to many Breslov and many mashpim from people that are not alive and people that are alive today, and very few learned it this way. We learned it. This is practically something new. Now, Reb Nachman, by the way, wrote the B'yam Likutey, but he was one of the biggest. So I'm not negating that. I'm not excluding that. I'm including that. I'm just saying you should have a share like that also. But this way, try it. If you're going to try learning Likutey Moharan this way, try it. Take one Torah, try learning it. See, I think you're going to see something different than you ever saw before. Because let me ask you a question: if we learn I'm not saying it in any disrespectful way, but Reb Nachman said something, right? So that's the way he heard the Rebbe, and he was also a Baal HaSoda, and we're also part of his Baal HaSoda, but not necessarily is his way of what he heard is my way. Not because I need the Rebbe to talk to me, not. Now, I can get the Rebbe to talk to me through them, and if we need that also, I'm not negating it. But I want...
When you learn Gemara, you don't say that the Rasha, Toisus, Shar, Amar, you don't say that the same thing.
What do you mean?
Learn the Shikkum Gemara.
Not true. You ever learned to listen to Shikkum? My dear friend, not true. No, you learn to listen to Shikkum not only to go into the Gemara and to challenge the Gemara, but to challenging Rashi, the Rishonim, the challenging the Rambam, the whole time. The Rebbe said challenges. The Rebbe said, ask questions. Ask questions of my Torah. Who did he mean? Reb Nachman should ask questions. Who means? He meant everybody. So it doesn't take away. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm saying to try to look at it. You know what? We look at ourselves so small that it's impossible that this Rebbe is talking to me. He talked to Reb Nachman, Reb Yitzchak, Reb Dayik. This is the people that understand. But me, I can only hear the Rebbe through this. It's not true. He made a sefer Likutey Moharan for every single person in the world, and he said you don't need any other sefer once my sefer came out. So he's talking to you. So how are you ever going to know how he talked to you if you don't listen to him one-on-one? There's no other way. You got to listen to him one-on-one. The only way to listen to one-on-one is without any interference and without any other thing, even good things. And they're great things. And you know what you're going to see? You're going to see that you're going to come to the chidush that they said, and you're going to come into the Likutey and say, wow, I said the exact same thing. Is it possible that you could say something like Reb Nachman? Are you like Reb Nachman? But yeah, you could. You know why? Because the Rebbe spoke to Reb Nachman, and he spoke to you, and he spoke to every one of our neshamas. And to go in with that platform that the Rebbe is talking to me, and I want to hear what you're saying. And now, I go to a shir, I'm going to go to a shir, I'm going to get enhanced, of course. When I go to the Kadam, the guys could witness it, I want to hear from the other people. Okay, so what did you hear? How did you learn this piece? Let me hear. Of course we want to hear. But the only way I'm able to interpret and understand what you're saying is if I really understood it for me. And if I didn't understand it, the only way I'm going to understand it is to challenge it. So I wanted to, once we printed these Likutey Moharan, I'm going to continue printing them with these big ices, with the places to write on the side, to write, notes. I want to tell you something about the first 3 Torahs that you gave it to me, I did it. In this Torah, actually the Torah Chavei also at the end I did it. In this Torah I started writing, and somebody has it, because I left it in Lakewood, Zevi Golden. And it's murder. It's mamish a murder thing, because you forget your question. Sometimes you see something, you want to move things, you make a note. And then all of a sudden you look back at it afterwards. Not right away. All of a sudden you look back at your questions and you start seeing, oh my gosh, I got it. This answers this, and this answers this. And you start touching things, and you start, first of all, you go into a whole different place. You're fascinated by the beauty of his Torah. That's number 1. Number 2 is, you start seeing how you could meet it in your day-to-day life. So I want to show you something in this Torah that happens. The mechanics of this Torah is, I'm jumping, but the mechanics, I'm going to go backwards. I want to tell you another exercise that I realized that works for me. But when you go through the Torah a few times from Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, try once going backwards from Dalet, Gimel, Beis, Aleph, and then you start to see connection between everything. So, yesterday we started with the Sif Aleph. Today I wanted to talk about Sif Dalet. I know I'm jumping all the way to the end, but the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show something that I personally experienced in the last one. I'm experiencing right now that I found in the Torah, and I'm going to share it with you. So we don't have to do it inside. I'm going to tell it to you outside. Outside, the Rebbe says in Sif Dalet that the seichel, the nefesh, there's 2 components to the person. The person has. In this Torah, by the way, the Rebbe talks about 4 different basic things. The Rebbe talks about the maya, the brain, talks about the nefesh, the soul, and he talks about the vision and the shmir. He talks about listening, hearing, vision, seeing, and he talks about, and one more thing, and then he talks about dibur. And then he talks about the dibur. And then the dibur comes, and he's saying, basically, that you need to use these 5 components for dibur. So how does he build it? And I'm just going to go through the mechanics without going to the inside of the Torah. I don't know who learned and who didn't, but I think you'll be able to understand the concepts anyway. The Rebbe is telling you like this, that dibur, let's start from the bottom and go backwards. That the dibur comes from the nefesh. Dibur comes out of the soul. So that's the expression of the nefesh. But where does the dibur really come from? Before you express the dibur, before you said it in any kind of word, where is it coming from? It's coming from the brain. But where's the brain getting it from? Where's the brain getting it from? So the brain is getting it from the seichel. And the seichel is something that's not internal. The brain and the nefesh are internal. The seichel is something that's external. And that seichel, the Rebbe calls that the shliach, the shliach ha-seichel. The re'i is the shliach ha-seichel. That the vision, that a person's vision, just like vision, brings an object that's far and brings it in front of me. So what really identifies the object? Brain. The vision is just a camera. The eyes are just a camera. So the eyes are seeing something and it's bringing back whatever it sees to the mayach to identify. So the Rebbe says, just like that happens on a daily basis when you're seeing something, what happens when you want to see something that's very, very far? So you need to squint. First you need to close your eyes and refocus, and you squint. And when you squint, you're able to focus and see something further. What happens if you really want to focus on something that's very far? I don't know if you ever see guys, they close one eye, and then it gives them what's happening. The Rebbe explains in mechanics, technically, that the further the eyes go, further the eyes can see, the weaker it gets, for two reasons. One reason is that it sees so many different things that it can't focus on one thing. And second of all, because the further the distance, the weaker the eye. So the Rebbe says, so when a person wants to see an object that's far away from him, what does he do? He closes his eyes, and then he reopens and he squints, and if he really, really goes harder, he closes his eye and he only leaves one eye open to focus on that particular object to bring it back to the mayach. And then he's able to see, oh, that's a dispenser, and I'm able to bring it back and identify it with my brain. Says the Rebbe, that in order to see the tachlis is such a beautiful concept. So it's unbelievable. Like if Shlomo Kalach was writing a song, I think he would say, and I'll express it afterwards, but the Rebbe says, the tachlis, what's the tachlis? The tachlis is the place of Toif. The Gemara says, the Rebbe brings it to the Gemara, that today, by Yom Ahu Yi Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. In that day, which is talking about the day of Mashiach, it will be Hashem Echad, the actus of Hashem U'Shmo Echad. What does that mean? We don't know. But we know one thing, there's going to be unity, complete unity in that day. By Yom Ahu, you know the day that we're all waiting for, the Tachlis, the day that we're all waiting for, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be unity. Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. It's going to be, everything is going to be one. Which that needs an explanation. But the Gemara asks, the Gemara says, Oto Ibn Echad. Is not Hashem now one? What do you mean? Hashem is going to be one? Hashem is one. We say every day, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Echad. Hashem is one. The fact that we don't see what, so the Gemara answers, yes. Because in this world that we live in, when something good happens, what bracha do we make when something good happens? That's why Ibn mentioned. What bracha do we make when something bad happens? Why? Because we perceive it as bad. But what's going to be by Yom Ahu? What's going to be in that day? What's going to be by Yom Ahu? In that day, everybody's going to make a bracha. So the question is, oh, very good. That's exactly the question. The question is there going to still be bad? That means Teretz is again, I don't know the Teretz I'm saying in my disclaimer, but the way I understand it is no, everything's going to be the same. If a tragedy happens and a building collapses, 3 people die and a building collapse, it's still going to. But we're going to see the good of it. We're going to see so much that is good that we're going to say Atoiva Meitiv because we're going to see that it's good and it's not really bad. Today we cannot make a bracha Atoiva Meitiv. We have to make a bracha Dayanim because we feel pain, we feel a loss, we feel a void, we feel a separation of Echad, which we're going to talk about in a second. What we're feeling, all our Yisurim and everything that we have is all coming from the separation of Achdus. What happened? So now, the Rebbe is telling you that this place of Bayom Ahu, that's La'asad La'avoid, but you can tap into this place, and you can get into this place, and you can take something from that place that's going to help you in this world, that even though you're making a bracha of Daina Emes, you're still going to be feeling a Toiva Meitiv. And it's fascinating. And he says that how do you do it? What you have to do is, if I want to focus on the tachlis, in the tachlis of Kulei Tosh. It's complete spirituality and it's complete unity. So how do I get there? The only way for me to get there is not to be distracted. The only way for me not to be distracted, and I want to see something very far, but this kind of thing that I want to see, I have to finish already?
No,
I'm not going to. But because I got to get this point, it's building in my brain, and if I could express, if the Rebbe gives me the credit, the Rebbe gives me the credit to express it, I'm telling you guys, you're going to jump out of your seat. That if I can get to this place of spirituality, the only way for me to get to real place of unity and spirituality is to let go of everything that's not spiritual. And the Rebbe says that everything in this world that we live in, when we look and we see a table and we see a chair and I see a person, I'm not really seeing spirituality because that's not really who you are. There's a spiritual part here. In the table, in the chair, in the building, in the car, in every single object of the world. So the only way for me to see spirituality is to close my eyes, not to see. And so the Rebbe is telling you, you know how you really want to see? You know what real vision is? Real vision is not using your eyes to see the object. Real vision is to see spirituality. And the only way for me to see spirituality is to close my eyes from this world. Everything, take my eyes and go close. When do we, and the Rebbe said, not only do you have to close your eyes from this world, you have to hold them shut with your fingers. L'doich come to Edba. I can't wait. If we went in, if we did this inside, it blows you away. So the Rebbe is telling you, when do we do this? When do we close every yid that davens every day? When does he close his eye and hold his eye and the hands on his eyes? When he says Shema Yisrael, what is he saying? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. He's saying, I'm going into the place, I'm being mevatel myself to the place of unity. Says the Rebbe, the problem is he can't say this because we live in this world. And the Eibusher Dafka created this world with a separation. Male and female are separated. Really, we're one. Everybody knows that the real yichud between each Isha is unity, is oneness. So, but we're separate. The Gemara says that Achar v'Kedem Sartani, when Adam Rishon was created, it was created with two partsufim. The front was the male and the back was the female. And the Gemara says that there was an asir that Rashi brings in the Chumash that in perspiration, that in order to create the female, we all understood that we took a bone and he made a new creation. There's a mandama that says no, that he cut us in half. I was thinking that maybe that's why the back has no features. Our back has no features. Our front has features. How come? So I was thinking that maybe if we were once one and there was a cut and there was an asira, like in regular life, when you cut something, I do woodwork. You cut something, if it has a nice carving in the front, as soon as you cut it, that part doesn't have anything. So possibly, perhaps, but the point is that this world we're living in, the world of separation, and the avodah that we have is to bring back the unity. And by Yom Ahu Yi Hashem Echad Shmei Echad, that is a day of unity. Says the Rebbe, in order for us to get to the Yom Ahu, you need to do in this world, close your eyes and go into the place of Bittul. Then one says to himself, okay, so I go into the place of Bittul, he's crazy, me, Nachman Fried, Bittul, you know who I am. Bittul, go into the place of Kulei Echad. Come on, you're talking a language like, Isaac, come on, you got to tell me, you're talking language for big people, you're not talking for me. You know what the Rebbe says? You ready for this? Bomb. He says every human being in the world goes to this. You know how? What happens when you're in pain? What's the natural reaction of every single human being when they feel pain? You go to the doctor and he gives you a shot. What do?
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Very good. So you close your eyes when any kind of pain the Rebbe brings. It's interesting. The Lashon. I don't have an explanation to it, but I'm doubting that I should have an explanation to it. When they cut off a limb of you know what pain that is? What does the person do? He closes his eyes. and it's a natural thing. And the Rebbe says, he says, even though the person is not aware, he doesn't know that the reason why he's closing his eyes is because he's bevatel to the tachlis, that he's going to the place of echad, of unity. He doesn't know that. But the nefesh knows, your soul knows that you're doing. So the Rebbe is giving you a hint, and he's telling you, you know something? Every one of us, we go into business, but we're unaware of it. And the Rebbe is saying, just be conscious. Just go into the place of awareness and start going to this every time. You're closing. I was thinking, perhaps, again, everything. You're just intimidating me. So I'm just, I listen to you all the time, and I feel good. I cannot go.
My favorite Torah, you know that?
Yes, I'm just saying. I just got a little intimidated, but no, Chazon. But anyway, but the point is that when I was thinking that maybe perhaps when you blink, everybody blinks. Perhaps we're blinking. The Rebbe is telling you that when you close your eyes in pain, we're blinking because most of us are unaware of our emotional pain. We definitely don't know how to identify it. And the Rebbe says when you go to Bittul, then it comes back to the pain gets even bigger. Crazy. That when you go into this place of Bittul, which the Rebbe is saying we're all going into Bittul, and you come back, the Yisurim get intensified. But he says one interesting thing, that when it comes back to you, when it comes back to you, you're able to identify where the pain is, because the mayach is connected to all the Eivarim, and the mayach now is able to, before you didn't know what you used to, before you went to Bittul, you don't know when you just feel pain. And one thing's clear to me in this Torah, and again, perhaps, everything is under perhaps it. I made this disclaimer beforehand, so I'm not saying Pshat Likutey Moharan, but the Rebbe is telling us that the place of Yisurim is not physical. He means physical pain. Eva means physical pain. But if you look at the end, he talks about Rus. He says, L'bilti nogeh, the nigeh nefesh, the pain of our emotional pain. Our emotional pain, our spiritual pain, that's really all our physical pain. I'm not a therapist, I'm sure you can tell, but all our physical pain is coming from our emotional pain. So, but most of us are unaware, certainly unaware of which emotion is causing what, and what's going on. But
physical pain comes from emotional pain?
100%. I don't know this. I'm saying this, but I feel that from this Torah, if you're asking me, again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm nothing. But if you ask me from the way I'm learning this Torah, it's clear to me that physical pain is coming from emotional pain. And emotional pain is coming from spiritual distance. And that's my journey and my thing, and I'm not saying just.
How do you get that?
What?
When I have somebody that she says, how do you get that?
Oh, I can't define, I can't tell you how it happens. I can tell you maybe possibilities, but I'm telling you that the Rebbe is telling you. The Rebbe is telling you that your Levilti Nugget, the Nigga Nefesh, and where is that coming? I'll tell you nothing. I'll tell you another secret that I found in the Torah. The Rebbe talked about the Diburei Atfilah. And he said two different ideas about Diburei Atfilah. He said one idea is that it's like someone that's walking into the field and he sees tulips on one side and roses on the other side, carnations on the other side, and he's selective. He wants to make this beautiful bouquet for his love. And he picks one and one and one, he makes one bouquet. And then he goes again and picks another, he makes another bouquet. And then he takes both of them and he makes an arrangement. And he says that every time we daven, what we're doing is we're malakit, we're collecting all of these different items, we're collecting them. And then the Rebbe says another idea, which on the same Diburei Atfilah, that when the Dibur goes out of the Nefesh, then the Dibur, each ice, the babe, is crying and saying, we're in love. We have a bond that's amazing bond. How could you leave me? Al Yisparz me many. You saw my beauty, how could you leave me? So the question I asked was, it seems like two different motions. There's a motion of being malakit, I'm collecting, and there's another motion of yoitzadin. So here, so first of all, if you go back to Siv Aleph, you see, and this is part of learning with the Moharan years, You have to connect. And by the way, it blows your mind to the point where you say overload. I can't handle it. It's too much for me. Mamish like that. But the Rebbe talks about the Sodda, and he talks about the Chutz LaSodda. And the Rebbe talks about the Bala Sodda. And we said yesterday, I don't know whoever was in yesterday, that the Rebbe, is he talking about, of course he's talking about the Bala Sodda, but he's talking about all of us are a Bala Sodda. Each one of us have a Sodda. What is our Sodda? Our Sodda is our Dibur Atfilah. And where does the Dibur come from? The Rebbe said that the Dibur comes from the Nefesh, it comes from the soul. And where does the soul come from? The Rebbe says that the soul is the Bas HaSeichel. It's the daughter of the Seichel. So that means, and the Rebbe says the word that the Seichel is Megadol or Misakin. It's nurturing and being Misakin and fixing, right? So that, and where's the Seichel coming from? The Seichel is the only tool that goes into business. The only tool that goes into the Sodda Sel Yonis. And at the end, the Rebbe says that the Sodda Sel Yonis. So that means, the way I interpret it, and again, it's my own interpretation, everything's perhaps, that we all have a Sodda. Our Dibur Atfilah is our Sodda. And most of us cannot make Echad from the Tefillah. Most of us cannot make this place of unity. I don't know, anybody attempt? I tried. So after now learning the Torah, I started, okay, today I'm davening, closing my eyes, I'm holding them shut with my thing, and I'm going to Baruch. Okay, there's a baby that's talking to me, I'm listening. By the time, for what? You can't do it. But what you could do is you could want it. And the Rebbe talks about the Ratzon, the Tzimoyin HaNefesh. The Rebbe talks about the yearning. Where's this yearning coming from? Where's this? Every Jew has some kind of a yearning, even if they're aware or not aware. That's why we're all here. Everybody's yearning for something. Everybody's looking for something. We don't even know what we're looking for, but we know there's something. And here, there's something. Everybody gets comforted in some way with something over here. So the thought was like this: that this, all the pain. What's Siman? The Rebbe says Yisurim becomes Siman, and that's really the way to elevate Yisurim. We feel pain. We don't know what the pain is. But if we know that the pain is really coming from a place of Kulei Tzayim, Kulei Echad, from a place of unity, and the Eibush is giving me this pain in a way for me to grow, so I'm going to the Bittul, and I'm coming back to the Rishima, I'm coming back with the memory of this place of Kulei Tzayim, and now I convert my Yisurim from a place of pain into a place of yearning. I'm now yearning. What am I yearning for? I'm yearning for connection. Because where did the pain start from? The pain started from lonely. Again, I'm not saying therapy. I'm talking about myself. What is the biggest pain a person feels that's under all negativity? Failure, rejection. I feel that being alone, the loneliness is the biggest pain. Why? Because the Dibur, the Ois, what is he telling you? The Beis. The Beis is telling you, I'm alone. Don't forget, I know you have to go weiter, but if you don't forget me, I'm not alone. So he's feeling loneliness. And that's what's causing, so if I don't connect it, if I don't think about him, then he's alone. And that loneliness is the pain that I'm feeling emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's all coming from my own babies. It's all coming from the dibur that went out of my mouth that I didn't care about, that I forgot about, that I let go of. And they became the Shamas Arumas. They became the Shamas that are outside the field, and these Diburim are sitting and waiting, B'Timoyin HaNefesh, and begging, please don't leave me. Where are you, my Bala Sodda? Where are you? And each one of us are this Bala Sodda, and we created them. Says the Rebbe, yeah, but there's a way out. You know what the way out is? Itaka. Yeah, I'm 53 years old. You know how many Diburim, you know how many babies are out there? I don't have anybody in the sun. I got them all outside the sun. So what do? I'm coming to the Bala Sodda. With what? With the Tzimoyin. I'm coming with the same yearning that these Diburim are making me feel in my pain. I'm coming here to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. I'm saying, you Bala Sodda, you fix me. You give me, you fill me up and fix all of those neshamas arumas, because you But in order for you to have the state typhus, in order for you to be able to see there, you need me to want, you need me to yearn, you need me to have simon. And that is a connection, because there was a question. Somebody asked yesterday, and it's a great question. I still don't have the answer that I could say, I understand it. But I'm starting to see a relationship and a connection. The Rebbe says that the whole tachlis is to come to the place of bitul, of unity, of kol echad, b'yom ha'hu yeh Hashem echad u'shmo echad. It seems like that's the ultimate place of the Torah, right? That's what the Baal Soda gets to echad. The Rebbe says that you need to do echad from two different things, diburim and yisur. So where's the connection between the two things? If diburim, it's like Steve Bang is telling you diburim. Steve Gimel is talking about yisur. And where's the connection between diburim and yisur? So the only way that I found that you can connect it is if the diburim alone create the yisur, and the yisurim are all coming from me, that every pain that we're going through is really created by me because I'm a Baal HaSoda. But I don't understand that I'm responsible of being a Baal HaSoda. So we come here to wake up. We come out to wake up and understand, hey, you know what, there's one time a year, and this year we all came with this wasn't a simple year, and this is my 34th consecutive Rosh Hashanah, Baruch Hashem, Chazi Hashem, they should just continue to give me this. I'm telling you, when the war broke out, we said this before. The first thing I'm sure everybody in this room, the first thing you thought about is what's going to be with the Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah. And I was saying this before. That we all really come here because we're yearning for our own spiritual. The real truth is that we're coming here because the Rebbe told us to come here, and the Rebbe needs us. And he sent us an invitation to the inauguration of the King, and we're getting bonuses because all year he said, "Come for you." But today, Rosh Hashanah. We're going to conclude. I said this before, but we're going to conclude because I think it's such a beautiful thing with one thought that Mamish brings Torah Samachet together, and again, I'm encouraging, and I'm also saying another. I'm talking to American people from all different places. We started Kailan of learning Likutey Moharan. If there's any place, whether it's California, Florida, or any place that has at least 6 younger likes or younger likes, 6 people that are willing to learn the same Torah for 3 months, the Iyun, and they need to be paid, I will raise the funds to pay these people. At least 6. I'd rather send in any place. I want this movement. I believe, not I want. I feel like the Rebbe is using me. I don't know why, but as a conduit, because this Ikar Tzadikut Torah and the Torah Rabbeinu needs is a culture. It's not just chizik and esoirus. Living the Torah is living the Torah. I'll conclude with one thing about Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah there's 48 hours to Rosh Hashanah, right? There's 48 hours in Rosh Hashanah. 48 represents Mayach. Mem Ches is Mayach. And the Rebbe said 2 things about Rosh Hashanah. The Rebbe said that you have to be your machshava. You have to watch your machshava, to have machshava kedoshim Torah. And second thing is to be memayed b'dibur. So this is Torah Samachet, where the Rebbe is telling us that we need to connect the seichel to the nefesh and the dibur. The nefesh is the dibur. To be memayed b'dibur, to watch all our dibur, to make sure they don't become the shamas zarumas. And to watch our machshava and our mayach, to make sure to go into the place of bittul and bring back the reshima. And by the way, the ikar is the reshima, the ikar is not the bittul, because we live in this world, not in that world. If the ikar was the bittul, we'd be in that world. The Rebbe is just giving us an aid to come back to the ikar is the shoy, not the Rebbe. And may we all be zoicha. So and that we should be able to bring the Geulah Shlema from heaven.